Welcome to part 5 of our live training process here with our drag race Honda S2000. In this tutorial, we're going to begin our full throttle calibration process, looking at how we dial in our fuel, how we dial in our spark, and then working with our per cylinder knock control. We have a Bosch flat response knock sensor mounted on our block. It's going to allow us to see exactly what's going on and seeing how far we can push our ignition timing in the lower boost levels. So this is going to be off our wastegate spring, which is still a considerable amount of boost on this particular engine. It's right around 20 pounds of boost. We're going to get a feel for everything here so we can turn up the boost from this point, but we have to have an actual starting point. That's going to be where we begin here off our wastegate spring. So without further wait, let's jump in so we can check this out.
Welcome back to our live training session here with our drag race Honda S2000. The last tutorial we worked on the warm-up enrichment and startup on a cold engine. We also took a look at, very briefly, at the process to dial in our part throttle drivability, specifically looking at how we can use our closed loop fuel trims in order to dial in our part throttle vacuum area volumetric efficiency table. So we have that sorted out. Everything looks pretty good in terms of our fuel trim, our closed loop corrections, making minimal adjustments, meaning that our estimated airflow value coming from our VE table here is going to be accurate. So we can trust it and we can move forward now to going into doing some full throttle tuning. Now this particular car has a very heavy wastegate spring. It's anywhere between 20 to 30 PSI worth of wastegate spring. I don't know exact spring combination in here, but it's going to be very high. We're going to baseline the car off of the wastegate spring level and then see what kind of boost it makes, see what kind of power it makes. We need to deal with dialing in our airflow model from our VE table here. We need to deal with dialing in our spark timing. We need to make sure that our knock control is going to function properly so we can keep an eye on that. So we're going to be essentially setting up everything for the beginning of our full throttle tuning. And then the next tutorial will turn up the boost using the boost control solenoid and then seeing what kind of boost and power we can make with this particular combination of parts here. Now, the one thing that I want to do in the beginning of this tutorial is set up our output control for our boost control solenoid. Now, I'm not going to go and activate it. In fact, we're going to go zero everything out, and we just want it to be active, namely because our safety features. Take a look here under safety and taking a look here under the map limit table. This is our boost cut table. This is going to be looking at the boost target coming from the boost control, and then this is going to be the maximum allowed map pressure before the cut starts. So it starts to cut out and have a boost cut, so it's not going to overboost. Now we want to make sure that the closed loop is active and that it's set up. Even though we're not going to be doing anything with it, we want to put our target relatively high, at least to baseline it off of our wastegate spring level here. So we're not going to actually send any output to the boost control solenoid to do anything. We're simply going to just configure everything so this boost target here is going to be relative. We could go in here and just simply get rid of our axis here as boost target and just set it as a singular value for right now, and that actually might not be a bad idea, so I don't have to activate the boost control under our closed loop, but I'm going to go and have to do it anyway, so let's go ahead and take care of it right now. So let's go and jump in here to closed loop, and we're going to go and configure some things. Under our boost setup, I'm going to go here and set it up on closed loop. We're going to do a simplified closed loop initially, and then we'll go and set up the PID gains when we take a look at the process, the next tutorial. And it's going to ask me when we clear the tables out. I'll say yes. We're going to put default values into our tables here. Let's just give this a second. Let's go ahead and just bring the tables in, and we'll change all this here in a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do now is the boost source. We have some options here. Map pressure is what we want to use. The output here, this is what I need to make sure is configured right. It's going to be using one of our aux outputs, and in fact I have this written down, so let me just grab my piece of paper here on the dash, and that's going to be set here on aux 3 is the top port boost control. We actually have two different boost control solenoids, one controlling top port, one controlling bottom port. We're going to leave the bottom port solenoid unenergized so that it's just simply going to act as a vacuum lines connected to the bottom pressure source that will achieve our wastegate spring level. The top port is what we're going to be essentially controlling in the next tutorial. We might get in controlling the side port or the bottom port at a later tutorial, but I don't know how much boost we're going to be able to get out of this and how efficient everything's going to be. So I'm going to go here to aux 3 and click OK. And then the frequency here, we're going to drive this particular solenoid at 30 Hertz. Let's go in here, aux 3. And we're going to go here and we're going to drive it at 30 Hertz. Now voltage compensation we're going to leave off here RPM activation, we'll say 2,000 RPMs and higher, it'll be activated, that's fine. Map activation, 100 kPa is fine. That's going to be essentially atmospheric pressure, 0 psi, to start to activate the solenoid so it's not energized and running at idle conditions. Deactivation timeout, 0 seconds. We want it to turn off once it's deactivated. One table we're going to use here, and the general purpose boost tables, we're going to keep them off. We don't need to do anything with our general purpose boost offsets. And what we need to do next is go in here to the PID setup. We're going to do on a stage 3 mode, so stage 2-3. Stage 1 duty. Right now we're going to zero this out. Min and max clamps here we need to go and configure here. So the min clamp is 0. Max clamp we'll leave at 90. We'll set our duty cycle at 0. We're just doing this just so we can make sure that it's not going to activate the boost control solenoid when we're doing any of our pulls. We want to be right off the wastegate spring so we have the lowest boost possible to get a feel for everything, for fuel and for spark, and get things dialed in, and then we'll worry about turning it up from there. We're just activating it again so that the boost target in our safety feature will reference where the target's at and make sure that we're not going to exceed that and it's going to have a cut in place.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.